Okay, so new mistake. Audio. Sorry, guys. New setup. We just moved. That's why all the boxes are behind me. So please excuse the mess, but my audio was not working that whole time. So we're going to try and do this one more time. But welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the video, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the Model X. It seems like a lot of you liked my last Model X video. I'm going to do a quick update because there was something pretty interesting that I found today where you can get one pretty quickly if you are in the market of one. But today's schedule, we're going to go over the Model X price over here. We're going to go over today's current Model X price. We're going to go over how to buy one today if you're interested, the price history on that, price drop, what I think is going to happen in the next 4 months on the Model X, the used current market values of the Model X, and of course a Q&A throughout it. We'll also go through the auction values because there was one really interesting that dropped that sold at the auction way lower, but something must have gone up with that one. But we're going to go through all that. We're going to talk about the Model X, which is my favorite Tesla that I've never owned. Yeah, we're going to go over any questions, Q&A that you have about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. But before we get into it, please hit that like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos on the Tesla market. I'm planning to make a lot more of these in the next couple days and weeks and stuff as we get towards it. Now that I'm kind of settled in, I have to figure out my background just a little bit. But today's video is sponsored by my Calendly link. If you have questions on buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla and how to get the best rate, you can schedule a call with me down below in the description of my Calendly link. It's a 15-minute call. It's like a coaching one-on-one call where you can ask me any questions on how to get the best deal for you on a Tesla. And of course, at the end of it, you'll get, or even before it, you'll get a link to my buying guide, which has all the links that I've used and resources to how to get the best deal and the best financing that's out there. So let's get into it. This is my second take on it, but the Model X. So the Model X is a beautiful car. There's really nothing that you can really knock on it for it. It's probably my dream Tesla that I've not owned yet. I've owned the Model 3, the Model Y, and the Model S, which my favorite so far is definitely the Model S, but because of the air suspension. But the Model X is a expensive car or expensive Tesla. It starts at $121,000 up to $139,000, and that's before you get to any options. So super expensive car, and not a lot of people know this, but the Tesla Model X was at this current refresh version, it was actually started at like a 90,000 give or take. Here we go. So right here you can see when they refreshed it about here 2021, the base price was 90,000 and now it's 121,000, which is a crazy increase. This is an Excel sheet I have that goes through all the different Tesla price history increases throughout the past years, and there's different models that you can see, the Model S, the Model 3, and the Model Y, and see how much you're paying now if you have an order in and where you locked in, and relative to what price you locked in if you have a good deal or not. But so this is how we're going to get into it. So the Tesla Model X, you can get one today, and this is the website that you can find inventory at. So Waiting for Tesla is a third-party site where you can see all the different inventory for the Model S, 3, X, and Y. And you just saw it before, so I won't even talk about the Model S, but there's available inventory for the Model S, and there's a ton of inventory for the Model S, and there's a little bit of inventory for the Model X. Before I said there was a lot, but this is kind of a lot relative to the past 6 months or even a year, where there was 0 Model X's for that whole time period. But right now, there is 14 Model X's in the United States. And most of these, of course, I was looking through it, they're mostly Model X Plaids, so the really expensive ones starting at 139 all the way up to like 150 with options. But I don't see any Model X long ranges here at the moment. That doesn't mean that there haven't been ones that have popped up, but this is how you would do it. If you wanted a Model X Plaid today, or even just a Model X, I would check this website religiously for the next week or two, because right now we're in September, which is the last month of this quarter, and that's when Tesla gets super aggressive with pushing inventory with possible to try and push cars out for the sales. So this is really interesting that there's a ton of Model X Plaids here that are available, and I wonder what's going on. Did these cars have backouts? Is it just too expensive? Are people not being able to get financing because of the, once you get into that ballpark of a vehicle, it's a lot harder to get financing. For banks tend to get pretty antsy around that 70 to 80K mark, at least for me. But yeah, it's very interesting once you get to car that's past 100K, and why there's so many of these Model X's, or at least 14 of them available in the United States. But this is how I would do it. If I wanted a Model X and I lived in Florida or Oregon or Nevada or even Arizona, I would go to this website, pick which one that I like that's closest to me, and then once you click reserve, it takes you straight to the Tesla website where you can find the car, take a look at it, make sure it's the car that you like, and then put your deposit down so that Tesla can then deliver your brand new, beautiful Model X to you. But going back to this site, another thing that I thought was interesting, not only is there's always been a ton of Model S's on this site, and there's going to be even more as we move into these next couple of weeks, but there's 68 Model S's available. Most of them Plaid again, but this one with a $7,000, $6,900 discount is pretty insane. But of course, this one is a 2021, so it's not that insane, but there isn't any long ranges on here at the moment. But moving towards the Model 3, there was one here earlier, and it might not be here anymore because people tend to be pretty quick, but here it is. A 2022 Model 3 Performance in Illinois, interesting, with a $300 discount, black on black. But this one does have 1,500 miles on it, so I wouldn't say this would be worth it. I mean, you got to think with the maintenance and tires, if this was driven, I'm not sure if this was a demo car or a test drive car, but if this was driven pretty hard for the full 1,500 miles, your tires are not going to last that long. So your tires may be already down a third of their lifespan, and tires for a Model 3 Performance, that's easily $1,500. So you're not really saving anything here unless you absolutely needed a Model 3 Performance today and this one fit for you. Then you could just take it and just roll with it and be in a Tesla next week. But checking the Model Y, there isn't really any here, so not much to see here for the Model Y. But the Model X is pretty interesting. So that's how you would actually buy a Tesla Model X today. You could also put an order in, but let's see that. So if we put in a Model X long range, yeah, if I went to go put in a Model X long range, it's going to say March of next year. So that's pretty interesting. But I have a good feeling if you put this order in and you loaded it with some options, you would get it this year because they would try and push you to close you in December. But moving towards a Plaid, look how much that bumped up. A Plaid is basically next month or even November. You'll get your exact configuration and how you exactly want it basically next month, which is absolutely insane for Model X speed of delivery. But this is interesting. So do I think Model X prices are going to crash, or is Tesla going to adjust them? Yes. I think they're going to I think Tesla has reached the price cap of the Model X Plaid for sure. Maybe not the Model X long range because they seem to be selling at a much quicker pace. But the Model X Plaid for sure is at its top of the price cap, and the Model X long range might see a little bit of adjustments in the next few months, because if they pull down the Plaid in pricing, they'll most likely have to pull down the X in pricing as well. But we've already gone through the price history of this. The most recently, they raised the Plaid from $126,000 to $12,000 more at, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. They've recently raised the Model X Plaid from $126,000 in March of this year to $139,000. So they can definitely bump it back down like maybe $4,000 to $5,000 and it'd still be a good discount for most. The long range though, they bumped it up from $115,000 up to $121,000. So they could tier that back like a couple thousand at a time, just test the market and see if more buyers will put their money down into for reservations. But I definitely think the Model X is definitely at its price point or price cap. So I don't think that we're going to see any more price increases on it And because and also the tax credit doesn't even, the only thing I would think is the tax credit would affect it, but it's definitely not going to affect the Model X because it's higher than the price limit for that. But going back to the waiting for Tesla, another interesting data point here is that Waiting for Tesla does a really cool thing, and they track all the inventory drops with data and everything. And you can see here, this is from July 1st to September 12th. And I think the data cuts out from, no, actually it's pretty much up to date. But you can see this red line right here is Model S drops. And then the green line is Model X drops. So pretty much every day there's a couple. It looks like one day there were 7 that dropped. So demand for the Model X, especially the Plaid, is starting to waver a little bit. But what's also interesting is there's some Model 3s that get jumped into the mix and also some Model Ys. So I think we're really going to see a lot more inventory pop onto this site waiting for Tesla. So if you're interested in buying a Tesla, if you have an order or if you haven't put one in, I would check the Waiting for Tesla website as much as possible. And they also have a Discord where you can sign up for notifications by your city or by your state so you can get one notified pretty quickly when one drops. But moving to the used side, this was one that I found. I'm not sure if this was here when we last streamed the Model X, but we are in the $40,000 price range. Of course, this is a super high mile 2017 with 139,000 miles for 48.5. It looks like, I feel like there was another one in the 48 or the 40s last time we streamed or did a video on this, but they're definitely in the low 50 range. So what I'm waiting for here is I want to see if I can get a good Model X. I don't think I could buy a 2016 or 2017 because the range, I've watched the views, you're just going to get like 180 mile range, which is not really worth it. But if I can get a nice Model X, like a 2019 or 2020 within that like 70K range, I think that would be like the sweet spot, because that's pretty much how much I sold. Well, that's how much I bought my Model S for. But the Model X I think would be a great car. The Model Y is, when I had it, was a really good car in terms of space and size, and bumping up to that Model X would probably be the next step. But the used car market is pretty interesting. There's 1,900 available used Model X's from all years throughout that are available in the United States. But jumping over to the auction values, and we definitely reviewed this the other day, but this one was super interesting. So Manheim, if you don't know, is an auction house where dealers can sell or wholesale cars to each other within the dealer network. And now we have it set for 2022 Tesla Model X long range, and the prices are definitely coming down. So right now, last week or actually a couple weeks ago, there was one that dropped at $110,000. So this person might not have made money, especially if they got in like the 96 base price point plus the taxes and fees, depending on where they're at. So they might have just broken even. So I don't know what's going on with this one, but it's a super interesting one because a lot of the other ones are in the teens. So 116,000 with 3,000 miles, 117,000 with 237 miles. So the Model X, I definitely think, is still holding in that 115 to 117K range. So we're not going to see too much of a crash just yet, and not really until the 2023s start to actually drop. And the 2023s, historically, for all Tesla models, start to get produced in late November, definitely December, and start to get delivered sometime around that. There's people on Tesla Motor Club that have reported that they've delivered their 2023 within December as well. So we're definitely going to see some price corrections on this. $115,000 SUV, whether it's a Model X or not, I mean, it's a big purchase. So you got to think that there's less people in the market ready to buy this type of car. But those are my thoughts on the Model X. I'm definitely watching this market as much as possible within the next couple weeks to see what's going to happen. So if you guys have any questions on buying a Tesla or selling a Tesla, you can go ahead and throw that into the chat or the comments. I know there was a bunch of people earlier with the no audio, so thank you for that. But that's kind of my position right now. I'm kind of just watching on the Model X. I do not have any orders in at the moment. I just don't have any at the moment. I think I'm waiting, and if anything, I might throw an order in December just to see if I can play the tax game for next year. But that's really it. All right, so first question from John Slim. Welcome back, John. Model X long range is still in demand, I think. I'm still waiting since last June for Model X7 long range. I have 8K upgrades as well. I remember you telling me about this last time. When is your expected delivery day? I feel like they should try and deliver to you this month because it's the end of the quarter. But yeah, depending on your price point, if you are at 90K plus the 8K upgrades, plus let's say you had tax of, let's say we go with 7%, maybe rounds up with fees to like 10%. So 97 times 1. So you're probably at like out the door 107 or 108K. And we're kind of there. Where if a dealer, I mean, of course, people can't sell directly to these auctions, but a good website I like to use a lot, which is a good wholesaler. They're really upfront with you. They might do a FaceTime call with you, or even send an inspector out if you're looking to sell your car. But Car Bar USA is kind of like a wholesaler that buys a car from you and then sells it to their dealer auction network. But let's say we're in hypotheticals here. We put in a 2022 Tesla Model X that I just took delivery of at a 90K price point. So my out the door is like 100K with taxes in California because it's expensive. And let's say I drove it. Let's mimic like the Model S exactly. So I drove it 5,000 miles. I'm in California, and let's see if it'll give me an offer. Wow. So even the wholesalers are starting to get a little bit scared. That's interesting. Okay, so we just ran the hypotheticals here. So if I had a 90K price point, which it was at 90K for a lot of people here. I just realized I'm not even sharing my screen. Dang it. So I put the trade-in value, and it's right behind, but I put 2022 Model X long range with 5,000 miles in Car Bar USA, which is a wholesaler middleman, not a third party, would give me 101,845. So to compare that to the Model X, which if you had a order a long time ago, or I mean even a year ago, at 90,000, and you put tax, just base with tax, 10% in fees, you're out the door at around 100K. You could get out of it. You could drive it off the lot. If you put less miles, you probably get more, of course, but you can make a couple thousand, which is a lot. But you're not making, the tens of or $5,000 or $10,000 profit that a lot of people were making during the hot craziness of the Model Ys and even the Model X right early on in the beginning. But definitely this is a good signal that the market is starting to soften just a little bit, and it's going to be interesting for the Model X. But John, I think you're still in a good position. 8K, especially if you have the 7-seater, you're still good. But October 2nd to November 27th, so that's a big range. And I'm assuming you haven't gotten the VIN yet, but I mean, either way, it's a good car. I would love to be in your position to be able to get one, drive it, and not have to worry to do it. But it maybe have to do with me getting a 31K discount. Yeah, I feel like that is a rumor, or I definitely had that feeling too when I had my 80K Model S, and it just kept getting pushed and pushed. And one time it pushed like 2 months out, and it made sense, right? Tesla doesn't want to deliver. They do it a lot with if you put in an order for a Model Y Performance right now, you get delivery, or a Model X Plaid right now, you get delivery next month. But people with the long range, the lower revenue cars, they get pushed around for their delivery dates. So I definitely have an inkling that it's the same thing. They just kind of push because they need, for Tesla, for good revenues, they need those profits today and not necessarily later. 100K out the door. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just food for thought. Your build is probably more in demand with a 7-seater, and depending on what color you have, but we're definitely going back to the times where if you drive off the lot, you're going to lose money off the bat, unless John, if you can push them to next year. But November 27th is right when the next model year 2023 gets produced. If you can push them or delay them and try and just score yourself a 2023 model, and how you'll actually tell is there's a digit of the VIN that will tell you what year you have. So it's the 10th character right here, and it actually goes by what letter it is, or even number, and it kind of goes in order. But for 2023, you'll want the 10th digit of your VIN to be a P. It skips O, so MNO, no O, because O is like 0. You'll want it to be a P so that you can lock in your 2023, and that will be way more secure if you got a 2023, because then those models will hold value for at least 6 months of the next year before it starts to trickle down. But definitely super interesting. Model X is a great car, I think. I'm envisioning it. I have no idea if it actually is or not, but going by my Model S ownership and how smooth it drove, I bet the Model X just is the perfect Tesla / EV car because of the space and the size. You can just throw stuff into the back and not even have to worry about it. But yeah, today was we were just talking about the Model X, what my thoughts are on it, what's the current market, how you can actually get one today if you're interested in the market. But John, so let's see here. John, Model S is my dream car. Model S is my dream car. I'd trade for an S any day. I have no idea why I chose the X instead of the S. I wasn't thinking when I was buying it, I guess. Hey, I mean, Model X is going to hold more value, I think so, at the end of the day. So you're in a good position with the Model X. It's more utility, it's long term, and you'll be able to get more use out of it than a Model S. Model S is cool, but Model X is definitely cooler, more shock and awe. Well, yeah, thanks for watching this quick video and this quick stream. Please hit that like if you enjoyed it, and definitely hit that subscribe. Comment below if you have any questions or anything. And if you want to support the channel, you can use my buy a coffee link down below in the description. You can support my drives where I like to drive get an iced coffee or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching this quick video. Please hit that like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.